guys? What's going on? Nicholas Nick and Charles Smith in the house.
Hello.
How are we doing today? So first episode of the BRAHcast, something that we're going to be hosting. We are testing out a new microphone. So, feel free to give us some feedback, loud and clear, any issues you guys may have. All right. So we're just ready to rock. We're both a little nervous, as I'm sure you can imagine. I see Charles fidgeting, so I'm just going to call it out.
My hair. How's my hat?
Exactly. Woo,
Can you tell that I'm sweating?
I already looked in the mirror once today, and that's one more time than I ever look in the mirror any other day.
We got a second co-host.
Yeah, there may be kittens, other wildlife, girlfriends, all kinds of things. We never know what's going to pop up. But yeah. So, welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, or likewise. I guess you're always going to tune in.
Well, you tuned in.
Well,
right?
yeah, I guess I should say thank you for allowing me to be on this opportunity. I appreciate it. We talked about maybe just going into each of our story and maybe how we met so people get an understanding of our relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
We met on Facebook.
Yeah, we did.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, right. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an origination on, how this whole thing came about. I want you completely clued in from day one, if you will. So basically, my name's Nicholas Nick. We'll tell you about us, and then we'll go into our connection from there. I'm Nicholas Nick. I'm an entrepreneur, and I founded a company called Lead Mining. We service real estate investors, people who want to buy and sell properties and look for people who have them. We are a lead generation company. Lead Mining is, and we do cold calling, list pulling, skip tracing, all that fun stuff. But so that's one thing that I did in the past. I was an executive at an education company, and I was a restaurant manager, which is actually where all of my great knowledge came from for about 16 years. So I did all that. So now present day, here's Charles.
Hi, folks. I don't have the past that Nick has by any means, but I guess to give you an overall understanding of who I am is I'm eager for knowledge, and that's why I feel so lucky to be here with Nick because he's been through the ringer and he's learned a lot of lessons that I'm hoping to pick up on so that I don't have to waste time and learn those same lessons the hard way. So I'm eager to learn from him and just from life in general. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur and trying to make my way and leave my mark on the world in the most positive way that I can. So I think with Nicholas's mentorship, I should be well on my way. So here we go. When
Charles first, it would have definitely been through the ringer. I can attest to that. In the restaurant industry, I worked about 70 hours a week. Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it, bro.
Hey, Devin.
Yeah. Devin says, would love to watch live, but I just got on a plane to Chicago. Can't wait to see the replay. Have fun.
Thanks for tuning in, brother.
Yeah, it's amazing. But one thing that's cool about us and really about Charles is that when we first met, I found him online and he was like, hey, what's going on? We just had passive conversation. I don't even think much really occurred at the moment other than the casuals, hey, nice photo kind of thing. And then one day I decided to pick up and take off to Laguna Beach for like 2 months. Lead Mining had just taken off. And I now had all these newfound freedoms. And I'm like, let's see what the world is like.
Yeah.
Let me go live in literally the most expensive country, a city.
Yeah.
It feels like a country.
Yeah.
The most expensive city in the world. Come to find out, it was only an hour from my man Charles over here. And so I see he's in San Diego. He posted a video of him doing capoeira or something very Brazilian and very interesting. And I was like, dude, who the hell are you? And I think his response was something perfect. Like, I'm just a guy
trying to make a positive difference in the world.
Trying to exactly. Well, believe it or not, verbatim what he said from him.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, boom, dude, like I'm that guy too. like we're two of those guys. So my next thing, you know, as an entrepreneur is to understand that person's want. I think very often in this world, there's my favorite saying is you can't want it worse than they do. And so I make sure, that was something I learned in the restaurant industry for those 16 years. So now I make sure the people I surround myself by want things as bad as I do. And so I'm in Laguna. Charles is in San Diego. I think it's like a 65-mile drive, I believe he told me, which could be a while in California. You never know. But anyways,
4 hours.
I said, dude, why don't you come out? I got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'll cover all the expenses. Just come hang with me for the day. Let's see what's up. He did. You know, he got in his car and he said, I'm going to go meet Nicholas Nick. And it's been holy matrimony ever since.
Yeah, really.
Minus the marriage. I don't even know what matrimony means. Please forgive me for anyone who does.
We'll have to look that up later.
Yeah, exactly. Please, someone post a definition.
Yeah, please.
Matrimony in the subjects. But, you know, it was interesting to have two like-minded people. You know, me, I'm 34. Charles, I believe, is 29. So, you know, in being with him, I get to see, I feel like in my brain, myself at 29. And I knew how bad I wanted it. So when I came across Charles, someone who was actually doing the work and doing the education, he's a big self-educator. He's a big absorber of knowledge. He's a subscriber to that Gia platform that we've all seen on our Facebook feed. He actually bought it.
Hey, it's called Gaia.
Gaia. Boom. Don't even know it.
I even know how to pronounce it too.
Yeah, let me tell you. And he's always posting videos. And one thing about it is like what he posts makes me want to subscribe to Gaia. You know, just so you know. So like I'm going to be subscribing in the upcoming week. I think it's super cool. And he's always up here. He's never down here. He's always focusing on what today's philosophers are saying. And I really like that about him. So before we knew it, he was like, Nick, I'm going to go on a cross country tour. And I was like, cool, dude. And he's like,
oh, hey, sorry to interrupt you, but we should tell him about how we planned on traveling.
Yeah, the initial.
Yeah. So
sure.
We should work that in somehow. I don't know how you want to.
No, you're right. So originally when we started, I was like, hey, dude, I just bought an RV. Some of you who follow me, the RV's actually out there. Some of you who follow me may know I own an RV. I've owned it for a couple of months. I put a couple thousand miles on it already. And originally I was like, hey, Charles, why don't you come travel with me in this RV, you know? And the truth is I had a fear of traveling alone, you know? Well, you know, we don't do as many things alone sometimes as we like. And I thought a task like that, I might find better with such a like-minded individual. And I was right. But as time came on, what I did was I took like a 15-day trip solo to Colorado in the RV. Come to find out, I really enjoyed myself. So I called Charles and I go, hey, man, that 1 month RV trip, bro, I'm actually going to take it all by myself. Okay. And I want you to, and I'm sorry, but I've actually fallen in love with myself. Yeah. And as a result, I'm going to need to postpone our scheduled time together because I need more of it with myself. Mm-hmm. And I was nearly that transparent. And I just said, look, dude, you know, and I apologized and I just owned it. And then Charles, being the man that he is, I'll let you take over the story.
Yeah. I mean, I think at one point, you know, even a year or two ago, I would have taken that personally, you know, but sometimes we have to step into other people's perspectives and try to see it from their end. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I totally get it. And, you know, I didn't let it get me down. You know, I had anticipated this 30-day trip with him, but it didn't work out. So I took it upon myself and took my own trip, so I spent some time by myself, and he spent some time by himself. So it was all good. It all worked out. We actually, in the middle of my trip, I ended up coming down to Tempe anyhow, and basically ended up staying with you for a week.
Yeah, Charles actually messaged me.
Hey, bro, I'm headed your way.
And he says, hey, I'm headed your way. And I was like, and I think I woke up 3 hours later because it was early for him or normal for him, early for me, because I don't wake up that early. And I was like, yo, how far out are you?
Yeah.
This is my thumbs texting, by the way. How far out are you? And he's like, 2 hours. And I was like, perfect. You can stay here. At the time I lived by myself. And I was like, hey, man, come on in, stay here. He ended up crashing for 8 days.
Yeah.
Maybe. It felt like 3.
Yeah.
It was crazy cool.
No, I always tell people that I feel like we'd known each other for like 10 years and we've been roommates for 3. Like,
right.
It was just so easy. Like the conversations that we had, the vulnerability that we share within, even the first day that we met,
Yeah. In Laguna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, the conversation has been so straightforward with you. It's just been, there is no, it's complete transparency with you. So, and I think that's something I really respected, because I hate, sidestepping and trying to like figure out what's this guy's angle, like what's really going on here. But with you and seeing you run your business, the transparency that you give people is what I really connect with, I guess.
Dude, I really appreciate that. Now, to be honest, I can't take a lot of credit for that because I don't know any other way. I only know transparent. I tried lying to people when I was like between 5 and 8, right? Like the rest of us did. Okay. And let me tell you, like real talk, like between 5 and 8, everyone believed the bullshit I spewed out. Okay. Almost everyone. But so at the time of my young age, my lies actually got more intense. Mm. So when I realized that the crazier shit that I was saying was actually getting believed, I understood the power that I had. This is real. This is 6-year-old Nick understanding that people will believe whatever the fuck you tell them. And then it was also 6-year-old Nick making a conscious decision to tell the fucking truth. Okay. Think about that. As a kid, I could have created a false reality for everybody, but instead I decided to really keep it real. When I realized that everyone was buying my bullshit, I started realizing that I couldn't keep up with it. Mm-hmm. There's too much bullshit. Mm-hmm. And the real truth is reality is a lot more fun.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah. And when you can live life right, when you can really live life right, you'll have a lot better stories to tell people than you will pretending to live life right. Mm-hmm. Pretending to tell people things that you think they want to hear.
Absolutely.
So Charles, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Like that's dope shit, dude.
Thank you.
Like, but it is what it is. And, and I've lost a lot of friends, because of my attitude. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes people don't like an honest person. Sometimes people don't. And I'm not just honest. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm honest. Oh, I suffer. No. Yeah. I'm like, yo, I feel some way about your shit right now.
Yeah. And I'm going to let you know.
Now I'm going to let you know. And now I do that out of love, actually. So like when I share feedback, and a lesson to all of you viewers, when people share feedback with you, like that's an expression of love. Now it may not feel like it. You may feel like you're being contested. Okay. But the reality is you're being loved on. And you are being contested, but people that don't give a shit about you will never contest you.
Yeah, they'll let you keep doing the same mistakes over and over.
And they'll actually enjoy it. They're sitting in the back loving it. So I learned a long time ago, if I'm not getting contested, I'm not feeling love. So I reverse that, and now I do contest the people I love in my life.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that they love me for it. Because I don't know any other way. If I've got to feel it, I'm going to share it. So when I say I'm honest, I don't just mean, oh, he asked. No, you don't have to ask with me in the room. You just have to bring it up, and I'm going to share my opinion. This gives you the opportunity to change my mind. This gives me the opportunity to understand my perspective. And I actually hope to understand yours. And sometimes I'm like, whew, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I can see this. But now that I know that I was wrong and that I see this, just so you know, when you bring the story up, many people may feel the way I just felt, you know, and it's important as a teller, whoever's speaking the words, to understand that.
To take that on board.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And next time we've got to bridge that gap, because if I was so offended or felt like I had to share my truth, then you should add this into a proactive conversation and whatever you may be sharing. So that was like weird and vague, but I think it made sense.
I'm tracking.
Boom.
I'm tracking.
Well,
That's all that matters, right?
Charles is my calibration. Real talk, guys.
Get back in here.
And no, he's my calibration. And, you know, real talk, I've got very severe ADHD. Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate that, dude. Christopher Riggs says,
what's up, Christopher? How are you, brother?
He says, I love this so much. Very much respect to you both.
Oh, that's awesome. You can put it up on the screen?
On the screen.
Dude, this thing's awesome.
Dude, this shit's dope.
Technology, man. You
guys, I'm using this thing called B.live. Okay, I'll actually post a comment to it. You know, it's super cool. It's how we are hosting this right out of this thing. But Christopher Riggs, dude, I mean, that really means a lot.
Yeah, it does. That's cool, man. I appreciate the comment.
You know,
thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, bro. You know, we're just out here trying to crush it. We want to bring our messages to other people. You know, when I met Charles and he was so much like me, and then since this is funny because you meet someone who's so much like you, and then you're like, we're gonna do everything I want to do, bro. Because you're so much like me.
Yeah.
You know, so I started sharing with Charles, you know, my passion about the BRAHcast, which is business, relationship, actions, and health. You know, and it was really unique when I met him because I was like, dude, we need to tell this message, and it feels like your message is similar. And lucky for me, he did want to do exactly what I wanted to do.
There wasn't much pushback.
Right,
like,
right. You know, and it probably was really a 50-50 idea, but it was easy as, you know, whenever you link up with like-minded individuals, you get to do things that you find fun, and then you're around other people who also find it fun. Mm-hmm. You know, I think we all can relate to being that kid, and let's just relate it to being a board game. You know, we take out our favorite board game and we go to our friend's house and it's not his favorite, you know, and actually it might be his least favorite. You know, he's probably hating on Crossfire. No one hated on Crossfire in the 90s. Nobody. Okay. But, you know, maybe it was his least favorite. Well, that stuff like kind of hurts. Well, when you meet someone and they have that same favorite board game, you're like, we're about to rule this board game world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what happened, you know, whenever we met. And then this was in the making. So we met, I believe, in March of this year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And we've been talking about growth ever since. You know, here we are. So no bullshit. Took us to 7/17 to really get off the ground running.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but you know, here we are. And man, you know, we're thankful to be here. And one of the things we did is, as I want to name it the BRAHcast, as a double word pun, as I share with all of you, and that's business, relationship, actions, and health. Okay, and the reason why is that is everything that I believe encompasses my life. My entire life. You know, I know a lot of people that talk about the core four. You know, those things are my core four. You know, that's what moves my world. I heard Wim Hof say, for any of my deep breathers out there, and if you don't get that joke, you don't know Wim Hof. It's cool. Look him up. He's amazing. But Wim Hof says, with 100% peace comes 100% action, you know. And I think that is such a unique perspective. And I think it tells us that, you know, no matter what situation that we are in and how we feel about it, if we are taking constant action towards achieving our goals, then we will be at peace.
Yeah, definitely.
With our path.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then 3 months after that, weird story that supports it. No. Sherry. What's up, Sherry? Thanks for tuning in. Sherry actually works at Lead Mining. She's one of our leaders. She's amazing. Not that kind of bra. Okay? It's not a bra. It's a bra. And as you know, women wear bras. So, boom, we're back in, baby.
We're back in.
But thank you, Sherry.
Good graces of both ends.
Yeah, and I appreciate you wording it differently. It's not the BRAHcast. It's the BRAHcast. But anyways, yeah, so, you know, we're just going to bring you guys some stuff. Now, both Charles and I are having what my favorite thing about today is we're both having a less than ideal day.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Where do we? Yeah. Oh boy.
You know, both of our yesterdays and maybe our overnights didn't go as we planned whenever we woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something to be said about a plan that doesn't work out that you have in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And both of our days didn't end how we thought that they would when we started them.
Yeah.
And, you know, without speaking on what it was, you know, for me or him, because we all are in control of our own words here, but I'll just say that, you know, when I woke up today, for myself, I had the best amount of excuses not to do this today.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
You know, it was the first day. My night could have gone better, you know, and I was just like, you know what, you know, I might, you know, and I felt it. It was at like 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really big enough to care. But the truth is, I knew that our inaugural or our first episode of the BRAHcast would actually put me in the right mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
You know, and then when I caught up with Charles, we just went out to lunch before this episode, and I spoke to him. I was like, oh, his yesterday was similar to mine.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
First off, that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It definitely is, as we both drink water nervously. More water.
I hope
please.
you don't go into any depth on this.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean,
I need some more water.
Yeah, you know, none of us want to talk about our problems. None of us want to address our problems. Actually, deep down inside, we may tell ourselves that there's some kind of fucked up subculture about even sharing what happened. You know, if I tell you guys what happened last night, then, you know, the person involved in the story might find out.
Yeah. And I want to add something here, because it's partially for me, it's like, I don't want to be misrepresented, because we only have 45 minutes, hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
And for that's the thing, is I see a lot of people making snap judgments about things that they don't have 100% of the information on. So for me, knowing that I'm going to tell you the story, but you don't have the time to listen to all of it, I don't even want to tell you any of it. Does that make sense? Like, because you're not invested in what I have to say. So let's just not even talk about it. I think that's where I'm coming from, is like,
sure,
you're not going to fully understand what I'm going through because you won't allow the time.
Right.
So
whether
it's a subculture or not.
Yeah. Like, so Charles's defense mechanism is I don't share out of fear of not enough information.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to be misunderstood.
Right. I don't misunderstood. I don't want the other I don't want anyone in the story to be misunderstood.
Misrepresented.
Not even just me.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Even if I'm wrong, I don't know right now because I'm upset. The other person, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I don't want anyone to be misperceived. I love that attitude.
Mm.
This is what's interesting. My thoughts protection is I don't want anyone involved to see it and then to feel a certain way about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like an outward perspective and an inward. Charles actually protecting other people's perspectives going inward on the situation. I'm actually trying to protect the person themselves from feeling whatever perceptions they may have about it.
Did you just call me selfish?
No.
Just kidding.
But yes.
But yes, kind of.
Right.
Because you're more worried about the other person. I'm worried about myself, maybe.
No. You're actually worried about the viewers. You're worried about people misunderstanding. What's up, Ronnie? Ronnie asks, where are you guys located? We're in Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Dude, I love that thing.
Isn't that fucking
Hello.
dope?
Where are
Even
you?
Ronnie pops up, dude. What's up, Ronnie?
Ronnie, with this picture and everything.
Yeah. Thanks for
How you doing,
sharing the
Ronnie?
screen with us, dude.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Oh my God. Sherry, I love it. Sherry from earlier says, you're welcome. We work at home. Yes.
Close optional.
Close optional. There's actually a company joke that we have at Lead Mining. Since all of our employees there actually work from the comfort of their own home, I always say close optional.
Yep.
For once, I don't care what my people wear to work.
Love it.
I used to be an executive at an office. And then I was a restaurant manager, so all my servers had to have their shoes cleaned, their uniforms cleaned. And for the first time, what you're wearing to work is not my fucking problem. So thank you, Sherry, for being amazing. You are one of our best, and I really appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're in Tempe. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're 27 minutes in. We went into a little bit about who we were. I gave you guys a brief breakdown. What I think we should next is probably let you guys dive in a little deeper into our lives, and go another layer deep. I gave you a little, a quick, 2 bullet point. I did this for this many years, this for this many years, this for this many years. But now, the first episode, I think that we should go into, who we are and why we think we are who we are. Okay. And all that being said, I'm actually going to let Charles go first.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I can go first, but I'm such a talker.
I don't even know where to start with that.
You want me to go first?
I think you should. If you want answers out of me, you got to ask me questions.
Ask you questions.
Provoke me questions.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a bad question.
Oh man. Okay.
Well, so we got a couple options. Number one, I can lead by example.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I'll follow.
And I can just throw up all over the viewership.
Because hopefully you'll take up the rest of the time.
Yeah, what you should do is you should take notes while I'm throwing up all over them.
Yeah.
And write down the questions that I'm answering.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So this is part of the mentorship he was talking about earlier. Guys,
firsthand right here.
Yeah, it's happening live. But
taking good notes.
Real talk. I'm like a passive narcissist. Okay. I'm not good at knowing information about other people that they don't show me. I'm not good at letting other people talk, which I've recently shown you in the past 28 minutes. So but I understand these things about myself. It doesn't always trigger those who I'm around. It doesn't always trigger me. But I love that Charles asked me to ask him questions. That's one of my biggest weaknesses. Unless someone talks to me about a business or a process, I normally don't have a lot of questions, because the truth is, with people, I want to experience them for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when I ask people questions, it's like putting them on stage and almost saying, act for me. Now, this is my own defense mechanism on why I behave. This is my own response to why I don't ask questions. This is me rationalizing my poor behavior of not being interested in other people. Let's be real, okay? But the truth is, it's true. You know, I learned a long time ago in my interviews as a restaurant manager, when I said things like, what did you do things at your last job? Like mop floors? They would say, yep, we mop floors. Oh, well, I made that too easy for them. You know? Well, tell me about, then I have to say, well, tell me about a time at your last job you were unhappy with your leadership and how you overcame it. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a fucking question.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, you can't really ask that to someone still because they get to control the response. But what I like to do is observe people and see how they actually behave rather than ask them how they would behave and then let them, I don't want to say lie to me, but let them create a narrative, let them impose more will on me than I want them to. So that's the pre-story into Charles asking me to ask him questions. So now I'll go into a little bit about myself. 30 minutes in, let's crush.
This is in 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Look at that.
I'm going to try to talk about myself
for another 15 minutes. Please.
For less than the next 6 minutes. Let's see how we do. We're at 31 minutes. Let's crush. Okay, guys. My name's Nicholas Nick. That is a full name. That's a real name. Unchanged. Nicholas James Nick. Okay, real talk. That's my name. All right, so I was brought up that way. I was a really short kid. I'm still really short. I'm 5'6.5". I used to joke and say that means half a dick, but I don't say that anymore.
Except you just said.
Shit. Stop saying things you used to say when you were 14. Write that one down. Mm-hmm. That's one we should write down.
Got it.
But now, I actually learned that when I was 15. I don't have to write that down. Oh, but anyways, I'm 5'6.5". I've had my own series of struggles, and you'll find that height means the most to people who don't have it, just like money. Okay, money means the most to people who have the least of it, and trust me, for someone who doesn't have a lot of height, I constantly am gauging how tall or short everybody is, and I didn't even realize it till my girlfriend constantly pointed it out. So, Nick, number one, height complex.
Yeah, right.
All right. It's an unfortunate side effect.
Am I comfortable with my height?
Exactly. Yes. Boom. No, I'm not. Define comfort. Heyo. So no, I was born into an amazing family. My parents are actually still together. They've been together over 35 years. They are my best friends. If Charles wasn't on this podcast with me, I'd probably be here with them. Okay, that's how close I am with them. I talk to them at least 3 times a week, and they raised me to be an amazing human being. Everything I have to offer other people, they taught me, and I am so blessed to have what they offered. My dad, without me knowing, taught me how to be diplomatic, taught me how to be educated, taught me how to ask the right questions. You know, I didn't even know what was going on. I'm 6 years old and I'm bringing things up. And he's like, Nick, you got to make sure everybody wins. And you got to make sure that, you know, you're doing the right thing. I had no idea that he was instilling so much integrity in me. And I was so blessed to really experience what I did. And in the moment, I loved it. You know, I was a very happy kid and I'm a happy adult. Thank God. Okay. But as a child, I was super happy. And my parents really gave me a lot. Now, I did have 2 older sisters. Okay. And they had a much different life than I did. And they still do. My sisters were really intense growing up, is probably the nicest way I can put it. And they experienced a lot, and they still are. My sisters are older than me, 10 and 12 years. And it's a shame when you're younger and you see someone who's acting out, and it's even more of a shame when it's 30 years later and the behavior still continues. I'm pretty sure we all can relate there, and I still want to be here for them. Samantha, dude, thank you, Samantha. Samantha says, "Hey, thank you guys for being so inspiring."
Absolutely.
I hope that's what we're being.
Yeah, no kidding. That's our intent.
That's at least our goal. But we just want to be real, which is why I'm going to go into stuff that I probably shouldn't most times.
I know, right? Let's just get into the thick of it, right?
But you have to.
Might as well.
You have to.
It's going to come out
because that's what it is,
right?
I mean, I'm not helping you if I'm fucking singing and dancing up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not that good of a singer or a dancer. I'm a much better truth speaker. But so, my sisters, they really chose the rough path in life, and they've really owned it their whole life. And it's actually, I try not to look at it from poor them. Okay. I try to look at it as more like a thank God. Whenever I see somebody, I try not to get into the mode of pity, but appreciation, gratitude, and when I see them and I see maybe I was closer to ending up like that than I think I am. Maybe the only difference between me and them is semen. Really?
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, you want to talk about knowing people who've hated their lives for 45 years. That's a shitty statement just to say. Charlie. Oh, Janelle Knowles calling you out.
What's up, Janelle?
What's up, Janelle?
How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.
I love it. I actually thought that she was calling at first because I'm so narcissistic. I brought that up earlier so I can say things like this. I thought that I looked like Charlie off of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh.
And she
was like, "Hey, it's Charlie."
And she was jabbing at me.
Nope. That was mine, bro. Sorry.
But then I realized that Charles's nickname could have been Charlie.
Yep. I used to go by Charlie. Yeah.
And the whole world's not about me.
Couldn't miss this. Oh, well.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll even leave that up there for a little bit. So that way everyone else knows.
I love it. This thing's so awesome.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah, it is. It's great.
So, I was talking about my upbringing a little bit. The sisters, they came along. They definitely, had a rough start. And they still do. So I don't use those situations as a negative. I honestly use them as a positive. Mm-hmm. And I try to positively impact them, and I try to positively have gratitude towards my situation. We all came up in the same household. The only difference is, they are my half sisters, and their father did have a mental disability. Mental disabilities are real. Mm-hmm. And they're genetic as fuck. And it's been an interesting experience. My personal life has, because it's not on the other side of the river. It's not all the way across the country. It's not in Africa. It's not, I can look across our household hallway mm-hmm. and see the difference between heaven and hell. Mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a talk for a whole nother time, where heaven and hell really exists.
Yeah.
But that was a little bit of my upbringing. My father really took me under his wing. My mom has an amazing sense of humor. My dad's like a businessman in a great way. He's so diplomatic. He's such a great manager. But my mother brings the comedy. My mother brings the love. My dad brings the results. And so whenever I go back home, more so as an adult, which I'm sure most of us can relate to. But whenever I go back home as an adult, I look at these two people and I see me. I see the Frankenstein that I am out of them. I see my mom's laughter and amazing attitude. And then even when my dad's being a grumpy dick, I'm like, well, I'm that fucking guy too, just not right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I see my dad yell at someone. I see my mom, smile, and I see everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I am a result of programming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lucky for me, my programmers were amazing. God, that makes me want to cry.
Oh well, I'm just gonna say, dude, like that's
Wow.
such a solid truth, man, as far as programming is concerned. If you want to continue.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Well, I just look at. I mean, I feel like we have a. You know, I come from kind of a broken home. I didn't meet my biological father till I was 8 years old, which, you know, had to have played a part with whatever
your life has been.
Whatever has been a result of that. You know, I go ahead.
I was going to say, in contrast to that, you know, yeah, I mean, my father was like my everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'll interrupt briefly, but just to exemplify more magnitude of what you're about to say,
Mm-hmm.
which is when my father first got a promotion, he had to leave home. It was 4 hours away, his first promotion was. And we spent 1 year apart. And I don't want to say that was the worst year under 10 years old, you know, but I will say that where's dad?
Mm-hmm.
Where's my father? Why isn't he with us? Was huge.
Yeah.
And when I found out he was coming home as a kid, I would actually stare out the window. And when I know someone's coming today as an adult, I still stare out the window.
Yeah, I'm still eager to.
Really, I'm still eager for their arrival.
Mm-hmm.
This is real talk.
Yeah.
So, you know, when someone says that they didn't have that until they were 8, it makes me thankful. You know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I think, you know, you mentioned about how you didn't want to represent the outside party. Like, I know that my dad's probably going to listen to this. I know that my stepdad, you know, who used to beat me, is going to listen to this, you know. So I think for the longest time I didn't tell my story because, you know, I didn't want to put that out into the universe. You know, I didn't want to. I have made peace with my past, you know, and I accept what happened, and it's you know, I've moved on, and I don't want that past to hang over the heads of the individuals that treated me the way that they did.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I think a lot of my success as far as internally is giving up the victim, like, and maybe this is a topic for another time, but I was actually journaling this morning randomly, not randomly, but about this subject, about how, you know, I was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe 6. I don't necessarily remember my exact age, but I heard my mom screaming for help, you know, and I'm laying in my bed, sharing a room with my brother, and we're both laying there, you know, terrified. We don't know, you know, our mom is screaming for help.
You know, you can't help her.
And we don't know what to do. We know that we're not big enough to do anything. Like, what are we supposed to do? But I think, you know, on top of that, like the psychological effect that had on me, and, you know, obviously still does, you know, is it's crucial, because programming, like you said, is like, if you have a kiddo, you know, if you're in a parent role, like, the way you treat your kids and the way and the things that you expose them to is just crucial. Like, what they hear, what they see, what they eat,
It's everything.
like, it's you're building a life out of all those things. But all that to say is, like, you know, I came from a rough childhood, and it's still, I mean, obviously affecting me. Like, I don't know, I guess that's something that I need to confront, but, you know, I'm thankful for it. I think it showed me compassion towards other people that have went through that same thing.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so I wouldn't take anything back. I love my stepdad. We've made amends, and, you know, I love the guy with all my heart. And, you know, hurt people, right? That's a cliche saying, but, you know,
hurt people.
Yeah. So when I was young, you know, I didn't understand that my stepdad was doing this to my mother or to me and my brother because of, you know, his past. he's following suit with what happened to him, you know. And until I realized that, could I make peace with it and show him compassion? And yeah, so I didn't have the most ideal childhood. I'm a pretty tenderhearted guy, maybe because of it. But I don't know what else there is. I'm okay with my height. That's a great segue, right?
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
You son of a bitch!
5'11", maybe.
You tall son of a bitch!
Yeah. So and I'm more of a listener. So that's why going live for me is kind of nerve-wracking, I guess, because I'd rather be. I mean, you guys have probably. I'm intently listening. Like
right.
trying to take in as much as I can to like maybe reprogram or like redirect or whatever it is. But
being a big listener, right? And I think Charles is a big listener because he's actually owning the fact that he's probably in an education phase in life. Is really more what that is. And then when he hits the point that he feels educated enough to be the speaker, then I think his internal thing will change. But it's great because he gets it. He knows that he doesn't know it all. Now me, I know I don't know it all, but I still won't shut the fuck up. So there's not much you can do about it. But one thing I want to touch on that Charles talked about, which is these people in our lives. Mother, father, brother, sister. For some reason, they come like with an internal code of behavior. And no one fucking follows it. But yet we still hold them to that behavior. And the truth is, they're just the same another fucked up individual trying to make this whole fucking life work too. I heard today on my favorite podcast by Aubrey Marcus. Wow. He had a guest star, Paul Chek. I don't even know who Paul Chek is, but I'm a fan. Whoa. Paul says, if you're going to lock someone up for their beliefs or their thoughts, then you need to lock their parents up because their parents program those thoughts. And then you need to lock their grandparents up because they're the ones who program the parents, and the cycle never stops. Instead, let's just forgive each other for everything we're fucking going through and understand that we're all in the middle of a process. But we hear things like sisters, like my older sisters, like they should fucking know any better than me. Says who? Says fucking who, man? I've always been their older brother. Things happen, they call me, And the truth is, that's not a problem. But it is a problem if you tell yourself that that's a problem and I should be going to them for my problems.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
But I never did that. I'm thankful that I can be the older, younger brother instead. I'm thankful that they got someone to call because I had my parents to call. So if they have me to call and they don't have my parents for whatever reason, then I can at least still be there for them. But it's just understanding that all these people are people and to drop the stigmas that we give our dad or our mom. Because you know what? Whatever the fuck your dad or mom did to you, it's so fucking unfortunate, but 10 times fucking worse was done to them. You know why? Because not everyone had a cell phone fucking camera in their hand. I want you to think about that shit. Okay? Like the shit we dealt with sucked, and a lot of it sucked because cell phones weren't out when you were a kid. Yeah. But nowadays a lot of fucking behavior out there is getting in check now because of the kids with their things. And you had it rough. They had it rough, and even worse, their parents had it the worst because no one gave a fuck. My mother was like a latchkey kid, and I say that now, and kids my age don't even know what the fuck that word means anymore because it didn't continue. A latchkey kid is someone who was given a key and a latch, and the latch raises the fucking kid because they let themselves in and they come home. This is before the days of mandatory daycare. This is before the days of who's watching your kids. They didn't even have fucking TV back then. You know what I mean? For real. So my mother was forced into raising her younger 2 siblings, but then the real parent would come home every once in a while and regulate, because that's what they did. Frustrated by life, smacking and hurting everyone. Everyone walks away. My uncle, unfortunately, God rest his soul, died from doing drugs. My mother said to me just recently, Nick, this shit's fucked up. Nick, if you would have seen the way he was treated as a fucking child, you wouldn't be surprised by his drug addiction. Mm-hmm. Like, whoa, mom. Like, whoa, mom, settle down, dude. Like, my mom told me that her mother locked him out of the house in New Hampshire in the winter. And there wasn't he's 12. There's no other places to stay. They're sleeping on the porch in freezing weather with a blanket, if you're lucky, and you hear this stuff, and, you just learn that life's life. But as a kid, no one tells you any of this shit. None of it. Yeah. So you're walking around going, why is he all fucked up? Everyone's peachy, because I've been fed a total crock of bullshit. Yeah. And then you grow up and you hear all this stuff. So I'd said all that to say, these family members that are in our lives, these people that are here with us, they're no better than us. Even though we may put them on a pedestal, the truth is, we're probably ahead of them. If you're watching this right now and you're in this mindset, you're probably ahead of those other hurt people. And it's hard to come to terms with, but at this point, you should probably reach out to them, since you're the one that's in the lead. Because you're the one with the superior mindset. They're the one out there kicking dogs because they were kicked, But yeah, so I just wanted to share that based off of, his story, man. We're all just fucking people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's a point that I try to drive to my family back in Kansas. Is, there's this concept of, for drinking alcohol, for example. Oh, kids do it when they're 19, before they're legally supposed to. It's fine. That's just part of it.
It's part of the culture.
Let's fucking break that chain and say, hey, alcoholism at 19 is not good for you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's cool that you spent 6 years drinking in college and now you don't anymore. But what do you think that you've done to yourself in those 6 years?
Right.
Like, let's stop. Let's break the chain. I could have been the asshole to, women or my mother or dogs or whatever, but I chose to break the chain and be a compassionate person about it. We have to stop the programming of hey, this is how you treat people. Let's shift. Let's redirect.
Yeah, totally. If you pass it on, it will continue to spread.
Fuel on the fire.
Thanks, Brett. It is intense, dude.
Yeah, I didn't. We didn't. I don't think you expected this, did you? I didn't.
No, but I'm not.
I think it's good.
But you started with me being transparent, so I kind of expected to talk about whatever came up in my mind. Yeah. It's just nuts. Even my parents were talking about alcoholism. You're right. My father and my parents let me drink at a young age, and and it was tight. And my father, with every dinner that was at a restaurant, had a cocktail. And now, if I don't order a cocktail while I'm going out to eat, I feel like I'm breaking cardinal rules here.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Even if I order a water, the whole time I'm like, I want a fucking margarita. And I don't want a fucking margarita. I don't.
It's just a shitty program.
It's just this weird, I respect my dad so much. That's actually what it is. I just want to be my father. And I'll be honest with you guys, doesn't sound like an asshole, but I'm killing my father's life path. He's wishing he was me, but still, I still want to be my dad, and, I'm blessed to be where I'm at, but I still have that innate programming, and it still comes out of the role model ship, if that's a word.
It is now.
Yeah, right. If that's a word that, happens, and I still want to go out and drink, and I'm not even a big fan, of alcohol and, the things it does for you. And I was drinking at 19 and 20. I've had this beard my whole life. Can't you tell? It looks so good. But I've had this beard my whole life. And I remember when I actually turned 21, my dad brings me to this bar we used to always go to where I would drink at. And he's like, my son's 21 today. And the bartender was like, fuck you. Are you fucking kidding me right now? You've known, blah, 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 blah. And, and that was like my first sign because it was so oblivious to us because my dad was giving me, not in a bad way, not in an abusive way, but if there was like a wedding or an event and I'm over 16 years old, he'd make sure that I was allowed to have one Captain and Coke.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's a cool level of inclusion and maturity to that. But there's a shadowy side of addiction and mistakes,
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, which is all of you so far, wait, give me another 2 episodes, you'll know everything. But in my day, I've totaled over 7 vehicles, 4 of them while drunk. I've also never gotten a DUI. I don't know if that's a thank God or not. But I've never been thrown in jail. I've always made it home alive, and I've never hurt anybody other than myself. But those days are 10 years behind me now. When I was younger, I definitely made a large series of mistakes. I had a post come up from 9 years ago that I posted on Facebook that said, "Hi, my name's Nicholas. I'm an alcoholic." My parents hated that post. They talked to me about it, and they're like, "You're not an alcoholic." First of all, they didn't come asking me questions. Mm-hmm. They came telling me that I'm not one. And I understand as my parent, you don't want to think that. And even as me, I don't want to think that either. But one thing I've never done ever in my life is I've never pulled punches when communicating with myself. Sometimes I may go to the more extreme punches where I'm like, I am Nicholas, I'm an alcoholic. Was I an alcoholic back then? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, I may have been 3 binge drinking nights away from it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to accept and take responsibility for the severity of my actions. And I'm going to respond to myself as if I was an alcoholic instead of continuing to diminish my accomplishments, even though they're negative,
Yeah, right.
But I'm not going to diminish them and go, no, I'm just having fun with my friends or whatever. No, I have a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm going to address it,
Absolutely.
I don't know where all that came from.
Yeah, well, I don't either. Just going with the flow, folks.
Does anyone have any questions for us? We just hit the 58-minute mark. Our goal is an hour. So if you got something, let us know.
Yeah, we need like a sign-off thing. Like,
yeah, right.
Maybe that's what we should work on next.
Yeah. Next episode, we'll have a fucking sign-off for you.
Here's your sign-offs. Wait, what?
Here's your sign off. I love it. But guys, let us know if you have any questions. I just wanted this to be a brief get to know you episode. This is just the beginning. What is really getting to know somebody? When in my cold calling company, Lead Mining, people ask me, tell me about some of the leads that you get. What is some of the information? And I go, first of all, we give you all the information we find, but everybody's lying. And it's not even that we're really lying. It's just that we're giving information based on what we know. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make it the truth.
Yeah.
And so I always say, look, I don't even know what my dad's going through. Mm-hmm. And you think I'm going to call some fucking stranger on a cold call and he's going to really spill the real beans to me? He's probably not. You know, my own father is my best friend. And I mean, I would know what he's going through if I asked him. But in the beginning, we spoke about, I don't ask a lot of questions. But, you know, when we ask ourselves, like, how really well do we really know those closest to us? I'm not saying this is a bad thing or a negative thing or whatever. I'm just saying let's call it for what it is and understand that we're all just communicating to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that, you know, if my dad feels like he shouldn't tell me some information, I remember my dad first got diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, my dad's fought cancer 3 times now. And when he first got diagnosed, he didn't tell me for like 3 months, you know, because he's protecting me. But he lied, you know, but he's protecting me, you know, in his eyes. And I took it worse than he did, you know, whenever he got diagnosed. But again, people don't always behave, you know, the way, you know, the truth is the hardest damn thing out there, you know. And again, this isn't a vilification. This isn't an issue. Dad, I don't got a problem with you. I love you. I love you. I'm just making an example for everybody out there to understand that even though
what's the right, you know,
what's
plan
the
of
right
action?
answer?
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, how do you, I mean, that's the other thing is, how do you, what's the right answer? There is no right answer. It's like, we're, that's something that we're trying to work on every day, you know? Yeah. All of us are doing the best that we can with what we have.
We're all in the process.
Exactly.
We're all in the process of figuring it out. So as we sign off today, our message is going to be grace.
There you go.
Okay.
Love it.
We're all sitting here figuring it out. We're all learning. And if you see a lesson clear as day that you want someone else to learn, my suggestion is to find a way to communicate with them. Don't judge them. Don't belittle them, but find a way to open and honestly communicate how you feel, and maybe you can bridge that gap.
I love it, man.
Yeah, let's have some grace. Guys, have a good one, dude. Thanks for tuning in. Charles, bro.
Hey, we did it. We made it through. About an hour?
That was 62 minutes.
I didn't pass out. That's awesome.
Boom. And if he did, we would cut it. I'd cut it out anyways.
Bro, wake up, man. We're live. All right. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. Show some grace today.
Absolutely. And welcome to the BRAHcast. See ya.